Well, I got some excellent news. And I'm going to start off with a terrible singing of a song, that a little parody I got. Hit the road, Pat, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Pat, and don't you come back no more. Yep, I'm sorry, snobs, but your friend Patrick Nowakowski has decided to resign Friday, probably because he's afraid of going to jail. So here we go with the excellent news. Oh, man. Long Island Railroad President Patrick Nowakowski will resign from his office effective Friday, MTA officials said on Wednesday. Nowakowski's resignation comes among growing calls from commuters, advocates, MTA board members, and Metropolitan Transportation Authority Chairman Joe Lhota for a shakeup at the Long Island Railroad, which has been beset by service and communications woes. Last year was the railroad's worst on-time performance in 18 years, and January its worst month in 22 years. I thank Pat for his service to LIRR customers and his steady, even-handed leadership of the railroad at a time when external events caused challenges for the railroad, particularly on Amtrak's renewals of tracks and infrastructure at Penn Station that the entire LIRR depends on, Lhota said in a statement Wednesday night. Nowakowski, 24, recently proposed a comprehensive improvement plan for the railroad, which is expected to cost up to $20 million and includes dozens of initiatives to upgrade technology, harden infrastructure, and boost communication efforts. But the 39th president of the LIRR will not be around to see his plan through. Nowakowski, who has served as head of the LIRR for 4 years, said Wednesday his decision came after taking a few days off to think about things. I am pleased with the direction the railroad is headed under the performance improvement plan, and I have decided now is a good time to step aside and allow new leadership to continue the progress we've begun to make on improving customer service, Nowakowski said in a statement. Critics have derided Nowakowski for what they deem questionable decisions and not doing enough to keep the public in the loop about what's going wrong and how problems will be fixed. He has kept a low public profile throughout the railroad's recent struggles, typically only surfacing at monthly MTA meetings to provide explanations and occasionally face rebukes from some MTA board members. Kyle Strober, executive director of the Association for a Better Long Island, a nonprofit advocacy group, said last week that running the LIRR demands both professional expertise and public engagement, and that Nowakowski's failure to master the latter has hurt him. Pat is a skilled technocrat who understands the nuts and bolts of the railroad, but has failed at understanding the Long Island Railroad commuter, Strober said. Unlike his predecessor, Alina Williams, who had an omnipresence on Long Island, Pat never publicly expressed empathy for the commuter's daily experience unless he was compelled to do so before the MTA board. Nowakowski arrived at the LIRR in 2014, replacing Williams, who is now Deputy Nassau County Executive. The LIRR has endured some very difficult times with many more challenges ahead, said Anthony Simon, General Chairman of the LIRR's largest union, the Sheet Metal, Air, Rail, and Transportation Union. We wish him luck in the future. My organization and I will work with the new leadership and assist in whatever way we can to help them succeed. Nowakowski, who had an extensive expertise leading rail systems in Pennsylvania and Washington, D.C., was cast as the antithesis of the politically smooth and image-conscious Williams, a sharp, albeit unpolished engineer who would focus on fixing problems rather than talking about them. That approach was on display when, a year after a crunch of riders leaving the Belmont Stakes caused dangerous crowding and hours of delays, Nowakowski came up with a plan to overhaul service at the racetrack, including by upgrading the LIRR station and using tracks on the adjacent Hempstead branch to store trains. Belmont Stakes service has gone off without a hitch since. So there you go. Patrick Nowakowski is resigning Friday. I want to thank everybody who has been involved in this issue. MTAProdigy, Matt Kamper, AndyRandomness, and everybody who's been involved. Hopefully we can get better leadership at the Long Island Railroad now. And enough of this favoritism toward the Babylon branch that Patrick Nowakowski. Unfortunately, the article left all that out. But it's kind of ironic because a couple of days after I contacted the MTA off to the Inspector General and a number of elected officials that Mr. Nowakowski finally is resigning because things have just gotten so out of control that this couldn't continue. And I'm so glad, even Mr. Lhota, really, thank you, Joe Lhota, for talking to him and finally getting this guy to resign and step aside. is very important. What can I say? So Mr. Pat Nowakowski is hitting the road, but I hope this isn't over yet. I really still think that Mr. Nowakowski needs to be charged, and I think his resignation, he knows he's done something wrong, obviously, with the preferential treatment, violating Title VI laws and numerous other things. So we'll have to see who the new president of the Long Island Railroad will be, but I'm sure it'll be an improvement over Patrick Nowakowski. And finally, hopefully the main line will finally be treated like the main line once again. Take care, and that has been this update.